All right, Alexander, let's talk about Hunter. Where is Hunter? And we have now the this final Senate report that has dropped. Let me read you a tweet here from Kyle Becker. Hunter Biden, the Senate report on Hunter Biden just dropped. The damning report doesn't just, and I quote, raise conflicts of interest, concerns. They raise criminal, financial, counterintelligence, and extortion concerns. Alarming stuff about the Biden's ties to Ukraine and China. And this is actually, and we also have GOP lawmakers now urging that a special counsel gets appointed to investigate everything that was going on with Hunter Biden. But this also comes on the back of video and an Axios expose of Chinese, I guess operatives would be the use of a proper word, operatives who have been in the United States for years, sometimes decades, and they have bragged on video about infiltrating very high up American politicians and people of power. So all of this is, this is coming at a time that's, one of those people is Eric Swalwell, it seems. So this is Axios. This is not a pro-Trump publication. So, and it was a year-long investigation, by the way, I should note. So all of this is coming at a time when, wow, it's not to mention all the election stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling on. This is incredible stuff. No one in the mainstream media is really reporting on all of this.
No one in the mainstream media is reporting on it, and the FBI is silent. Contrast this, which is real. We have evidence. We have a mass of evidence. We have, of course, a certain laptop somewhere. And as I understand this particular investigation, most of it was conducted without actually utilizing that laptop. So there is a mass of evidence. There are very serious allegations. There are allegations of criminal offenses, as you rightly said. There is document trails. There is evidence of large sums of money moving about. All this is real evidence involving the country, China, which is now the United States' biggest adversary. Contrast all the approach that is being taken to this with Biden, with the hysteria we were hearing 4 years ago over Russiagate, which, as we know, was absolutely non-existent, fictitious scandal based on a hoax dossier concocted by, Christopher Steele on the basis of drunken stories by a woman in Cyprus. Contrast that with the silence that we're hearing over this, and contrast also again the actions of the FBI obtaining Pfizer warrants unlawfully, which they used to spy on the Trump campaign, not just, I should stress, Carter Page. So the contrast is glaring, and it is extremely disturbing. And in light of that, I entirely agree with what Republicans are saying, which is that this has to have special counsel investigate it, because it's quite clear that there is a will on the part of the FBI and the media and the Democratic political class to bury this, despite the fact that, as you've just said, the evidence is all there. It is strong, it is real, it comes from multiple sources, and some of it has been corroborated by witnesses, Mr. Boblinsky being one of them, and also by the information on Hunter's own laptop.
Yeah, and let me go to the Blaze first. Let me go to the Blaze first and read you what they say with regards to a special counsel. And this comes from Representative Ken Buck of Colorado, Republican in Colorado. Buck sent a letter to Attorney General William Barr on Monday, requesting that the Department of Justice initiate a special counsel investigation into the son of the media-declared president-elect, centering on Hunter Biden's conduct, that's a quote, conduct, and quote, potentially incriminating contents on the laptop in the FBI's possession that purportedly belongs to Biden. And I quote from Senator Buck, "This investigation is critical to defending the integrity of our republic and ensuring a potential Biden administration will not be the subject of undue foreign interference. Americans have the right to know whether Mr. Biden's reported ties to foreign governments will make him the subject of blackmail attempts or other nefarious efforts to undermine U.S. national security or otherwise improperly influence American foreign policy." End quote. Buck also went on to compare what was going on, to compare the need for a special counsel with that of the ridiculous Robert Mueller special counsel. And all I have to say on this is we have done dozens of videos on the Hunter laptop, and one of the underlying themes and one of the underlying pleas that we had with the American people and anybody else that has power in America on a government level was you cannot be president of the United States under any circumstances, because all the evidence we have shows that at a bare minimum, his members of his family have been compromised by China, deliberately compromised by China. At an absolute bare minimum, China's government targeted them and structured very strange oil and energy deals through CFC in order to influence the Biden political dynasty or the political power structure. This we know at a bare minimum without even lumping in Joe Biden. Members of his family at a bare, and I'm being very generous. And that's what we've said in many, many videos. And now we also have confirmation via Axios that China has been infiltrating various senators and Congress people. Most notably, like I said, it looks like Eric Swalwell has indeed fallen victim to a Chinese operative. And this is confirmed fact now. So this is big, serious stuff.
It is huge. And can I just say, obviously, it is the kind of information which, all right, let's say Biden and Hunter Biden deny it all, which is their right. Let them deny it. The point is, it calls for investigation. We spent all that time investigating Trump's non-existent hotel in Moscow. Do you remember all that? Do you remember how he was supposed to be going to create a hotel in Moscow and a Trump Tower in Moscow? And it was all based on Michael Cohen's allegations, and there was no evidence for it. And we drilled into it. But do you remember how Mueller was spending time, tracking all that down? Do you remember how Mueller was spending time tracking down the allegations of the bribe that Rosneft was supposed to have offered Carter Page? No evidence for it, complete fiction, no reality to it whatsoever. Yeah, if we can investigate those kind of things, if we can, you mentioned members of the family, if we can investigate what Donald Trump Jr. Said with that Russian lawyer Veselnitskaya in Trump Tower, which, over a meeting that lasted all of 20 minutes, and in which no money of any kind was spent. And, that there are it turns out, even the FBI and the Mueller investigation was looking into questions of whether that meeting might have been a case of campaign finance violations. Nonsensical stuff. If we can investigate all that rubbish, spending tens upon tens of millions of tax dollars doing that, of course we can investigate this. This is on a far bigger scale. It is with a country that is far more adversarial towards the United States, that's China, and which is a far bigger rival to the United States than Russia is. And of course, this is all based, I come back to this, on actual evidence. You said yourself, evidence of videos of Chinese officials bragging about this. Of evidence of the Chinese actually having contacts with people within the United States government, within the US Congress. Of course we investigate this sort of thing. No question about it. And that's what needs to happen now. Appoint special counsel, because clearly the FBI under Chris Wray's leadership is unfit for purpose. Appoint special counsel and get it done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, anyway, let's leave it there. But I think this thing is bigger than most people even realize.
Well, absolutely, because of course what we're seeing at this point is probably only the surface of this thing. I mean, I think you're absolutely right, by the way. I mean, if the Chinese have indeed been, running a campaign to draw Biden in, and to draw in people like Swalwell, who frankly is, colourful and interesting, but rather
he ran for president. He ran for president.
Absolutely. I mean, surely they went after many others too. Perhaps some of them took the bait. So, this is clearly a serious matter. I would have said an extremely serious matter. So why the silence? Why the refusal to investigate? That is all that I'm asking for. Conduct a serious, good faith investigation of this thing. Speak to all these people who were involved. I mean, if you can send, was it 20 armed agents to arrest, a Roger Stone early in the morning? You can certainly send people to question, Swalwell, to give an example, to give just one example. If you can send 2 FBI agents to trick Michael Flynn into an admission, despite the fact that you've got evidence that he didn't do anything wrong, you can certainly send FBI agents, or indeed other agents, to talk to Hunter. I mean, absolutely you can do these things, and absolutely you should do these things. If you're going to speculate for hours upon Michael Cohen's theories and worry about what Donald Trump Jr. got up to when he met Veselnitskaya, well, then you absolutely listen to what Boblitsky is saying.
Yeah, you know the problem with all of this is I bet you there's a ton of people in very powerful, prominent positions inside government and outside government and in Wall Street who are who don't want any of this stuff to be exposed, because they're all making a lot of money out of this. That's my hunch.
Well,
and that's why they're trying to squash this. And that's why they let stupid stuff like Russiagate propagate, because no one was probably making any money out of dealings with Russia, really.
That is exactly true. I mean, this is the fundamental difference. China has had a massive economic and commercial relationship with the United States. Many people in the United States have made an awful lot of money on the back of it, not least, of course, the tech giants. I mean, Apple has all its factories in China, all those factories in China, for example. And of course, Russia doesn't really trade with the United States to any real degree or extent. And so that, there aren't all those compromised people with dealings with Russia that there are with China. So there is that major imbalance in the nature of the two relationships. But of course, the fact that there is so much money, Chinese money, sloshing around, actually makes the matter far more serious. And the fact that there may be many people who are compromised, or many people who know people who've been compromised, and who want to protect them for all sorts of reasons, because it might be politically in their interests to protect them. That makes it more serious and makes it even more imperative that it be investigated properly.
All right, Alexander Mercouris, thank you very much, guys. If you like this video, click on that subscribe button. Check us out on BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble, PayPal, Patreon, Subscribe, Star, and Bitcoin as well. You'll find that in the description box down below. And of course, the Duran shop. Pick up lots of great merchandise, magic mugs, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, all kinds of great things.
Absolutely, magic mugs like this one. Can I just remind our viewers that we have exclusive to the Duran merchandise designed for us by the great Greek designer Dimitris Economou, and here you see an example of a British, I say, cup of tea made in Britain, and in fact it's absolutely appropriate and proper, because that's what I drink from My Magic Mugs. But you can also get yourself amazing shirts, wonderful hoodies like the one I'm wearing at the moment because it's a freezing cold day here in London. And you can also get yourself sweatshirts and hats like, this one too. You can see hats and also other amazing things in our shop. And you can support us, as Alex said, by finding us on our other platforms, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, Library. And you can also support us by coming to support us through Patreon and Subscribestar. And please remember also to hit the subscribe button on this channel, on YouTube channel also. So support us, come to our shop, buy the great things there, and come to our next broadcast.
Absolutely. Share this channel outside of YouTube. That's the only way that people can find us, is if you share it outside of YouTube. All right, guys, take care.